It being 3:03 on Thursday, April 9th, 2020. I'm hereby convening the special township board meeting of the Maine Township Board, Cook County, Illinois, in accordance with section 80-10B of the Illinois Township Code, 60 ILCS 1/80-10B, and pursuant to Governor Executive Order 2020-7, section 6. Said meeting has been called by Township Supervisor Laura Morass. The meeting is held virtually using Zoom video conferencing for purposes of considering the following agenda. Special board meeting agenda. Note, Maine Township is committed both to open, transparent government and to stopping the spread of COVID-19. To facilitate this special board meeting will be held electronically but equally transparent. We encourage the public to participate in our meeting electronically by joining our Zoom meeting. The link has been published and also through our website. So first order of business is to call the meeting to order. Clerk Gilamans.
I hereby call the meeting to order. Would you like me to call the roll, Supervisor?
I will. Here.
Okay. Assessor Moylan Cry.
Here.
Highway Commissioner Kazmierczak.
He's not.
Okay, not there. Clerk Gilam is here. Supervisor Morass.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Carabota.
Here.
Trustee Sweeney.
Here.
I don't believe Trustee McKenzie's on.
I excuse Trustee McKenzie. She had a personal issue. So
Okay.
she will not be joining us.
And also our attorney, Carrie Lynn Kraftheffer, is on the call as well.
All righty. So Pledge of Allegiance.
All right.
Thank you, Pete. All right,
Thank you, Pete.
everybody.
All right.
Ready?
All right.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
To the flag
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Okay. And I already did roll call. All right, public participation. Do I have any public participation?
Here, but I'm just watching.
Okay, and that would be Earl Wilson. Thank you, Earl. Okay, anybody else want to make any comments about the sole item on the agenda? All right, so now turning to new business, the sole item on the agenda is the attorneys and township developed a written COVID-19 policy. And there are two separate policies within this. The first one is a compilation of the intersection of the types of leave and that are the statement of policy. It is the policy of Maine Township to comply with the requirements of the Federal Families First Coronavirus Response Act, FFCRA for short. The FFCRA provides employees with emergency paid sick leave, known as EPSL, and emergency paid family and medical leave, known as FMLA+, for those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic from April 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. This entire thing is published on our website. I'm gonna, in a minute, have Carrie Lynn do a short overview, but the second part of it is the Maine Township telework policy and procedure. And that one, the objective, Maine Township has continued to develop alternate ways in which all employees can continue to work and serve our taxpayers while reducing the risk of COVID-19 exposure to the employees to the greatest extent possible, as well as to the taxpayers, and consistent with local, state, and federal emergency orders. It has been our goal to create more opportunities for support staff to complete their work from a remote location during this emergency period. It is important to remember teleworking may be appropriate for some staff and some position, but not for others. It is not an entitlement, but a program to offer continuation of work for employees, as well as continuity in township government operations. It in no way changes the terms and conditions of employment. Okay, so I'm gonna recognize Carrie Lynn so she can give you guys an overview of both of these. Okay, thanks, Carrie Lynn.
So there's two policies. The first one is the draft remote work, or the remote work policy. And that just is establishing procedures for how people are working remotely, which is something that we already have going on. So this just kind of outlines the terms of that, and it's fairly self-explanatory. So people can review that and just let me know if you have questions. And unfortunately, most of you were on the webinar that I did on the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. And so we talked about why we needed this policy to implement the provisions of the federal laws. So there were two components of the FFCRA that really we kind of have to address. One is emergency paid sick leave, and the other is the enhanced FMLA. And these just establish a policy that all of those are going to run concurrent with our existing FMLA policies, so that we don't have employees taking 12 weeks of FMLA leave, another 12 weeks of FMLA plus, and another week, another 2 weeks of emergency paid sick leave. And then
Okay, wait,
all of their
somebody's got,
accumulated.
hang on. I have to mute everybody while Carrie Lynn's talking because there's some interference. Okay, all right. And then you can all unmute yourself when you're necessary. Okay, go on. I'm sorry, I think I muted you.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
So it really just establishes that the employees cannot end up having 30 weeks off this year by stringing along these different leaves. So it allows us to take FMLA leave at the same time as the enhanced FMLA leave, and a portion of that can be the emergency paid sick leave, and the other benefits that they have can also be during the same time period. Now, of course, if you guys want to extend it, you have that ability. If you don't want to make them use them concurrently, but most public bodies are wanting their employees to do that, so which is why I structured it that way. So are there any questions about that?
Anybody? Trustee, recognizing Trustee Sweeney. Unmute yourself, sorry. Do you need me to do that? Hang on.
I got it. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So just for clarification then, Carrie Lynn, what I hear you saying, so this is from April 1 till December 31st. This is 8 months.
Well, that's what the federal law provides. It only provides that the ESPL or EPSL and the enhanced FMLA are only available between April 1st and December 31st of this year. Because it's only related to COVID, and I think they're thinking it'll be over by then. So that's what the federal legislation says. So that's why I set it up for that time period.
Okay, so that's the duration of the possible applicability, but not necessarily what we're providing for then under the telework for, we're not saying that it's an 8-month telework.
That's
I'm
a separate
wondering if-
policy. And I don't believe I put, did I put that time period in that policy?
No, you did
too?
not.
No, you did not.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I guess, so it's just the emergency paid sick leave and the emergency paid family medical leave plus
Correct.
that applies to. And it's,
Has it in the top paragraph of the statement of
Yeah.
policy.
yes, and so, but whether or not that's the policy that's available, but whether or not it's actually going to be used for that period of time yet, for any individuals, we wouldn't know, right?
Exactly, because that's more on a case-by-case basis. And then I think, I'm looking at the remote policy, I think I put in there also that that's not, like, people shouldn't have an ongoing expectation that this is going to, let's see here. Let me put that. Yes, it's not an entitlement, but a program to offer the continuation of work for employees as well as to continue operations in no way changes the terms and conditions of employment. Oh, I think Laura read
Right.
that previously.
Right. So once there's no emergency order, then I'm getting everybody back to work. I mean,
Okay.
getting to the building. I mean, once the building is open. Correct, Carrie Lynn? I mean, it's already self-explanatory in this, I thought. And what you've drafted, I mean.
yes, that was definitely.
Because that's our
in town.
policy as a township. I mean, that.
And then the second question I have is, as it pertains to the telepolicy, is when it says it's appropriate for some staff and some positions, but not for others. So I'm assuming that the not for others means those are the people that are actually coming in and possibly either on the FMLA or the ESPL, or they're coming in.
Correct.
Right, like for
So that addresses all
example,
of
the road district employees can't work remotely. They are out repairing potholes. I mean, and staying sick. They're just engaging in the social distancing now. But yeah, that's exactly what that means.
Okay, so every employee is accounted for in some way. Either they're working telework, or they're taking advantage of a possible where they would get in the EPSL or the FMLA plus.
Or
Correct.
they're working.
Or they're coming
Or
in.
they're working.
Or they're working.
At the building, yes.
Okay. I just want a clarification on that.
If I can, on the Maine Township telework policy, page 1, I'm wondering if it would be prudent, Carrie Lynn, just to add a time period cutoff somewhere in here, or at the option of the township, or at the decision of the township somewhere. The second is, or to reference the policy language from the previous, but somehow to have some type of a cutoff in there at the option of the township. And when it comes to equipment, paragraph 2, I'm wondering if it's deemed necessary by the township, and wherever we have a need to show what's necessary or available, pretty much throughout the document, it does leave that decision up to the township. But I just wanted to make sure that throughout the document, those decisions of necessity or time periods, et cetera, the final arbiter of that is the township. The final decision maker is the township.
I can add it. Maybe it would make more sense just to put a third paragraph under general eligibility
Oh,
requirements.
very good. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
You mean a third paragraph that says that this policy will end when the emergency has been declared over? Consistent with all state, local, and federal guidelines kind of
That the
thing?
policy, or that wherever a decision of what's necessary, that's determined, that the final determiner is the township, and the time period conclusion of the telework policy and procedure, the final arbiter of that decision is the township.
All right, so let's see. So right now, do we want to say like 90 days or something right now?
90 days.
Or during
Yeah.
the,
Yeah, or at the determination of the township. Yeah, 90 days or something like that, or no?
well, we can always continue it after 90 days if we need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
Um,
90
I
days
think
or
90
earlier.
days, 90 days, unless continued by local, federal, or state order.
By the
no,
township.
continued
Yeah.
by the township.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, consistent. I mean, we still want to be consistent with.
Well, the
health
township's
guidelines.
going to have to be consistent with federal and state law.
Right. That
So,
was.
yeah, I just don't want it where, that it's the employee that has any type of argument of when this ends. So if we had a time period that said 90 days or at the determination, or earlier as determined by the township, subject to extension. And anything, yeah, and then anything that has a decision, who's going to decide what's necessary, that decision's made by the township. That'd be great.
I would second that.
Yeah,
So
I don't
how
have any
about-
problem with that.
How about this? It is the intention that this policy shall only be in effect during the COVID-19 crisis of 2020. This policy shall be in effect for no longer than 90 days unless continued by the township board, but may terminate sooner.
Subject to the township board decision, yeah.
Well, but
But
do we need the board to terminate it, or should we just have?
Or
one time so they can come
the
back?
township decision. In other words, I don't want the employee to have the argument that, hey, I have a say in whether this should terminate or not terminate, or what's necessary.
Okay.
That stops those debates and stops also possible future debate and litigation.
Okay, so I'm trying
Well,
to see if I
it's-
can hear. Oh,
And I think
can
Laura,
you
you're,
enable me to share my screen so I could show everybody what I wrote in there?
Sure, please do.
It says host disabled participant from sharing screen. So Rich or whoever.
I didn't, hang on, I didn't disable anything.
No, it's probably just set up so like weird
Rich,
hackers
did
could
you
act.
disable something? He's a co-host. What does it say?
It says host disabled participant screen sharing, which would be, you probably didn't even do it intentionally. You probably just.
I
blocked
don't
everyone
even
from-
no, I didn't.
unless Carrie Lynn, I think you and Supervisor Marasco.
Yeah, mine says the same.
Wait, hang on. Trustee Sweeney, let Dave finish so I can. I have one.
I think Carrie Lynn, yourself and Supervisor Marasco are 10 steps ahead of me. So on what this is. So maybe if we just read it, I think it would be fine.
Okay. So I added under general eligibility requirements, I added number 3. It is the intention that this policy shall only be in effect during the COVID-19 crisis of 2020. This policy shall be in effect for no longer than 90 days unless continued by the township board, but may terminate sooner as determined by the township.
Fine. That sounds good.
That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay,
Yep.
so I'll send this to everybody.
That's good.
It's exactly what Laura was saying too. So.
Right. If we're not over this in 90 days,
Oh my Lord.
I'm gonna really, and I gotta tell you, I think every employee wants to get back in that building. But,
Oh yeah.
Trustee Sweeney, I think you added something.
Yes, so I have 2 other just kind of questions. Let's see, in the policy, which is the FRCA, FMLA plus, we don't have our pages numbered, but it's number 2, certification of leave. So under F is certification of leave. And
Wait, are you on the first, on the,
I'm on, can you all see this?
so you're on the leave policy, not the.
Yes, I'm on the leave, not the telepolicy.
Okay.
Okay, on the leave, there is a F, number F is called certification for FFCRA leave.
Uh-huh.
And there's a number 1, which says the township will require certification to verify qualifying reason for leave, and the documentation has to be provided with the quarantine by a healthcare provider.
Uh-huh.
Option number 2 then states that we understand requesting healthcare provider documentation may place burdens on medical community. Therefore, if an employee is unable to obtain that we just need the name and phone number of the treating healthcare provider. What I'm wondering is legally, is there, because I'm assuming that maybe this is the federal act, number 1 is, and then we're carving out an exception to that with number 2. Is that right, Carrie Lynn?
Well, it's not necessarily an exception, because what we're going to do is we're going to tell people, okay, let's say that somebody says, hey, I'm experiencing these symptoms. I need to get into a doctor. My doctor can't see me for 2 days. They're not going to be able to give us the paperwork immediately, but we might not want them to come in during that time period still.
Gotcha. So
it's for our benefit. I mean, it's
right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
For the
So,
medical
but at some point, I would add maybe
Yes.
at some
Yeah.
point we still require it. It doesn't
Yes.
exempt number 1 from being true.
Correct.
The way
Correct.
it reads in number 2 doesn't say. It sounds
It
like
does.
we might. It just says we reserve the right for additional documentation, but it just says that we just need the name of the physician, and not. So in other words, if somebody had extenuating circumstances for childcare or whatever, or that they have, or a self-quarantine, either of those are in number 1, we say,
No, I'm sorry, Trustee Sweeney, number 1 does say, generally the township will require it. And then
Right.
employees should be prepared. And then number 2 is like, if they can't get it because their treater is like on the front line in an emergency room, somewhere or dying, you
Or
know,
if they
because-
can't provide it because of their.
Right,
illness.
exactly.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
fine. I just thought that
Then
maybe
it will be supplemented, absolutely.
Maybe a
It
medical
says it.
authorization requirement. that
like just something as maybe one more sentence to that at some point you would want documentation to be
It
able
says, Susan, it says, therefore, if an employee is unable, at a minimum, the name, address, and phone number must be provided. That is at a minimum.
Right.
Township reserves the right to request additional documentation. So what else could be, I mean, it,
well, it
Would a
says if you
medical-
believe
would a
it's
medical-
fraudulent. I mean, don't we want to eventually have some kind of documentation on record?
that's why it says that.
Well, it says we reserve the right to, but
Yeah, well, but
okay.
we are, I mean,
Well,
that's
we
our
can, I mean, we
policy.
can add, that's okay. We can, I mean, it will be easy to put something else in.
It's not a big deal. It's just that we should have
Um,
something on record from a physician eventually.
Maybe.
Okay, so I'm gonna add a
maybe
second
I
adding a-
thought it
there.
said that, but I don't have any problem if you want to say it again, Carrie Lynn.
Yeah, and maybe, I don't know, maybe just if they can't provide it, provide us a medical authorization along with the name, address, so we can get it ourselves.
Mm.
Well, then we
And-
would need a waiver.
No, we can't
also.
do that.
Because of HIPAA?
Yeah,
Yeah,
can't do
I mean, I just think that at some point, I mean, we all understand the conditions and that there's burdens and there's timeframes and there's all these issues. But at some point, I would think documentation from since it's asking for that under this law, that we would want some kind of written note from a health care provider. Otherwise, number one isn't even valid, you know, because it says that there's certification required. So we should under two at some point, maybe at a later time. Just a thought, you know, I would
Okay,
think.
so I added a second sentence which takes care of that. I put the township may require the employee to provide or supplement documentation. And then it goes into that third, or that sentence, township also reserves the right, blah, blah, blah.
Did you say the township may, did you say?
Yeah, the township may require the employee to provide or supplement documentation.
Mhm.
Like, let's say they do provide something and we don't think it's enough. I think that's what she's saying. Is that
No,
what-
I'm just saying you technically could get by with never providing anything from a doctor, the way I
No,
read it.
you can't.
Well, unless you say it's required, it is a number one, so
It is in number one. It's sort of, it says it.
Well, so the law, so here's one of the issues under the FFCRA. And we talked about this a little bit with respect to documentation. There is no requirement in the FFCRA that someone has to provide
Oh,
documentation.
well then we can't impose a
oh,
more.
there isn't? I did not know that. I thought that was why I brought it up, because I thought that was part of the law.
No, we believe that, I mean, all the Department of Labor guidelines are saying we should get documentation to substantiate it. But it's not, I mean, I think they, you know, this was significant legislation that was passed in like a 48-hour period of time. And basically what Congress did is they said, well, we're just going to let the Department of Labor figure out how to administer this. And so the Department of Labor keeps on coming out with different regulations. But I think this is sufficient because this is saying we're requiring people to verify the leave. It prevents abuses. It allows us to request the supplementation. And it also accounts for the fact that if the employee just can't get it for whatever reason, that's okay. But now we've added, but you might still need to get it. So that's fine. I think that should be fine.
Okay, if that covers us legally, that was my concern. I didn't know if we might have to have proof of it later and it wasn't there. That would be my concern. So as long as you're okay with that based on the law, then I'm fine with that,
Okay.
what you read. And the only other one thing that I had on the telework is, I'm assuming the way this is written, but it's not extremely clear on the very first page, that there would have to be expenses of $15, anything that is, there's going to be a separate reimbursement. It says that there proof of some same reimbursement, that would actually be submitted. It says that the employee shall obtain prior approval to incur any extraordinary costs and submit proof of same for separate reimbursement. But are we going to require reimbursement for the $15 expenses that the employees possibly might incur?
So that new law that came in with respect to expenses says that we have to kind of provide, we can either do a direct reimbursement thing, but what it was contemplating is that if we're requiring people to work from home, they're going to have increased expenses, and we're not going to, if they use 3 pieces of paper, we don't need to keep track of that, and we don't have to tell them how much data they use that was related to communicating with the township versus home. So that's why I just set the flat $15 amount as the amount that everyone will just get, whatever. But if someone comes in, like we had one of our employees say, well, I'm working at home and I needed to buy a printer cartridge and that cost me $82 or whatever. Then in that instance, they had to get prior approval and then we reimburse them for that. But otherwise, just right now, it's just going to be whoever's working from home gets the $15. That should cover their data use, their incidental expense, their
Okay.
lighting from, working at home or whatever.
Yeah, I understand.
It's just a
Yeah.
cost.
Okay, and that's, just so you're, assuaged, we have literally set people up and, we are keeping a separate list of costs because we are also tomorrow, the due date for to notify FEMA of your intention to submit a reimbursement is due. And so Denise, myself, and Vicky and Doreen have been working on that and Carrie Lynn. And the costs are not due yet, obviously, because the costs are not known yet. So we are, Vicky is, and all department heads, we had a department head meeting Monday by Zoom, and they were all instructed to keep, any expenses that were COVID related, listed separately so that we could then at the end, when FEMA is wanting the actual expenses, the township will get reimbursed. Or that's at least what the president, am I getting a delivery? Excuse me. I'm sorry. Am I getting a delivery?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Do I need to sign for it? Okay. Good thing I came to the office to do this board meeting. If what indeed the federal government has said and FEMA has said is accurate, then the township will get reimbursed.
And,
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Bless you. As a quick note, did I, Carrie Lynn, on the Maine Township telework policy and procedure, did we add also that language that says any determination of what is necessary is the final arbiter is the township?
Yes, I added that in, and I'll send you all a copy of the changed policies when the meeting's over.
Okay, great.
Trustee Sweeney.
Okay, I guess my only question that I had is this a this is a policy? So is it a resolution? Is it a supervisor's? Can you explain what this is exactly?
What
A
is-
policy.
Yeah, they're policies, so you just need a motion to adopt the policy, like your
So I'm
personal
gonna make a
policy manual.
motion. I mean, I was waiting for all comments.
And is it a board vote then, or is it a vote for?
It is a board vote, but yeah. That's why we picked the special meeting to.
Yeah, I just didn't see it presented as that in the board packet. It didn't show signatures from trustees and the supervisor. It just showed that it was.
Well, I think given that this
didn't
is
call for that to be
recorded and
agenda.
the times that we are in, I don't think that is required.
Yeah, it's just, you can just approve it by a motion. So
Right.
a motion to approve a policy, so there's not signatures required.
Right.
Okay. That was a good-
So, wait, do we have any other substantive questions on the actual policies before well, you know what? Actually, we've done this backwards. So, hang on. Motion to adopt the 2 policies drafted by our attorney called the Maine Township's Family First Coronavirus Response Act policy, as well as the Maine Township telework policy and procedure for COVID-19. And may I have a second? I'm making the motion.
Second.
Having it seconded. Now, is there any further discussion on it? All right, hearing none. Clerk Telamis, can you call the roll?
Supervisor Marask,
Yes.
Trustee Jones. You're on mute,
I
Trustee.
think she's muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Carabota,
Yes.
Trustee Sweeney.
Yes.
Okay. Now, given that I'm going to make a few announcements. There's no action required. For the first time ever, our food ran out. So I believe today we did receive District 62's thing. Did we not, Mike? Hello, are you there? Carol Langen?
It was Melzer School from District 63 that was expected.
I'm sorry, I always say District 62. District 63. I think we received that, but I also am going to announce, and we appreciate that. It came literally like 10 minutes before this board meeting.
Yes, and I would like to personally thank Jen Pacheco and the Melzer School principal for initiating this, and we were able to supplement it with some people that got on our website to join in providing food to the food pantry. So I think it was very helpful, and I think we have over 620 boxes of food. So I think
when the issue is all right, so I just want to give a few updates on this, and we really thank Meltzer School as well as everybody who donated to them. So great job. So now here's the next issue. So that we have given out we've given out over 600 boxes in the last 2 weeks. And you guys know from our stats that is a tremendous amount. So in my 21 years at the township, we've never run out of food. And the problem here is, and Carol Langen's been working very hard in conjunction with everybody else to do our bulk ordering. The problem with the bulk order is that the stores are not doing it. Aldi is not doing it because they want to have food for other people. So we are in the process of figuring that out. However, I put an call out to called Alderman Moran, and we talked to him and Mayor Maloney in Park Ridge. And so I will be emailing you all a link. And what they have done, and so we owe a very big thanks to the city of Park Ridge. I called right before my Passover Seder, and by this morning they had it. There's two things. So John Moran has some kind of relationship with a pasta company who he sent Carol Langen and I a bulk list. And that will be getting delivered at some point soon. But the link I'm going to send you all, and that we'll have Rich posted on the website. He wanted me to pass this along to all the elected officials and staff. And they established a GoFundMe page for us. So what they're doing, and they are heavily advertising this, is that they established that so that people can donate money to that GoFundMe page. And then John and the mayor are going to find the shoppers so that to basically have a lot of little shoppers come and donate, which is great. So I was so happy to see the incredible, level of response within 5 hours, basically. John and I last spoke at about 11, and then, by 8, I think Dana can verify, we were getting emails from Mayor Maloney, a list. Carol and I got a list from John Moran, And
Laura, may I add, he's already at the moment got $2,300 in donations up on the site.
wow,
Excellent,
Wow.
excellent.
that's amazing.
All
When I
right.
talked to him 2 hours ago, it was like 800. It's amazing.
That's fantastic.
People
Yeah.
have wanted to donate, so that's fantastic.
I know. And the problem, and we will address it at an agenda where it's not, like an emergency, turning the pantry into a 501c3 because, I can't,
Good idea.
we cannot establish a GoFundMe. We're not allowed to. So as it stands now. So I had told in a lot of blogs and maybe people saw it, that what we need is food and we're grateful for money. You can send a check or drop off a check. Oh, I also want to thank Beth Panessis from Aqua. They donated $3,300.
Wow.
Oh, thank you.
So that was incredibly generous, and they picked us as basically, I don't know, because they like I don't know. So that was very generous. I also received a phone call from attorney Jim Marisi, who lives in Park Ridge, but also in Arizona. So I don't know if it happened, but he was sending his office manager over to make a large monetary donation. So as I said to John and the mayor, the issue now is food. So we are also in the process of sending John Bennett to various places to literally purchase. And Susan, the District 63 items will help. We closed today so that we could reorganize and get it. We were out, actually out at 4:45 yesterday. So we will reopen tomorrow. There's going to be hours of operation. So I'll send that in the link that I send you for the GoFundMe page. And John, you'll see in my email, I'm going to forward John's email that requests for all of you to share with your social media people. But our hours of operation in terms of picking up boxes will be 10 to 3. And in terms of dropping off, we still have the bins, and that's 9 to 5. So we're also going to limit it to one a customer because I guess, we've had some situations with people coming back numerous times during the day. So if there's a different person manning the food pantry, so anyways, and also we are going to now, limit it, before, given that we didn't know how long this emergency was, people out there have masks and gloves. I didn't want everybody to be fumbling for ID. This will be limited to Maine Township residents. If that's, I'm assuming that's acceptable to you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because they're apparently, so I'm not going to say anything bad, but yeah, I think that will help. I mean, in terms of, I know that all food banks everywhere have been really struggling. So we are very lucky that we have a support system that, and my next goal is to work with Des Plaines, but given that I have those relationships in Park Ridge, that worked really well. Very happy with how people stepped up for this. Caroline, do you have anything to add to that? Can she hear me?
Not really. Just that jump into the call of duty and you have a better amount than I had at 11 o'clock, and that was $400 from John Moran. So obviously people are paying attention.
Wow, that's incredible.
No, I think that's fabulous.
How much did Carol say?
And she said when she spoke to him, $40. And that was at what hour?
11 o'clock.
Okay. So I spoke to him at 2 and it was $800. Pete Gialamas
Wow.
spoke to him or looked at it and it's $2,300.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kicked in very nicely.
Thanks to John Moran and Marty Maloney. That's great.
Right, right. It's really a great, yeah, they really,
And this Italian place, the pasta and the I can't think of the name of the company right now. Anyway,
Raconto.
yeah, they're gonna come in
What's it called?
I think it's Raconto.
Racanti, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
They're going to, John Moran is going over to the warehouse tomorrow and picking up what this gentleman's gonna give us. So we will deliver.
Oh,
We will have pasta,
And sauce.
yeah, and sauce, carbs and
sauce. Okay.
It's been a very trying time, and I thank everybody for their help in my department because Nick has stepped up. We lost Terry, he went to California. So right now it's been Nick, Mike, and myself and Marty, kind of keeping it together. So, and I'm sorry I had to close it, but we were out of food, and we may have to wait until Monday to open up because the pallet didn't come in until 2:15. We haven't even gotten to open it or anything like that, so we may have to wait till Monday. But
Oh, that makes sense because you haven't had a chance to make the boxes. Okay. Although, Carol, if we can make any tomorrow morning, if Nick,
yeah, we'll see what we can put together. But it's
because I did tell, they may be putting on a website that we're open tomorrow from 10 to 3 because you and I had talked about that.
yeah, well, that's fine, and whoever shows up, we'll just have to.
Yeah, and if we run out, we run out. I mean, that's the best. We're doing the best we can. So,
But I mean, if the shipment came in today, even without boxing it, you could just hand a few things over, right?
No.
No?
Well, no, because if I hand them a can of green beans and they don't want it,
right. No, that doesn't work.
there's a box that's sealed all the way around. I don't want.
Okay.
You don't want someone pawing through the box.
It's just ridiculous.
It's just,
Right.
there's a system. We make boxes. We give them the box. There's no returns, exchanges,
There's no
and so.
I can appreciate what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I was just thinking of somebody being desperate,
No.
because it's 4 days before it's over.
Well, that's why I asked for them to
That's-
make up some so that we
No,
can.
right now, I don't think the people are desperate. They're kind of being greedy.
I
have people coming 5 times in one day.
5 boxes a day.
What?
Yeah, we did have some multiple box people. That was not a good thing.
End of discussion. Thank you very much for your help.
Thank you, Carol.
Okay. All right, so we will take care of that and get that, get as many put together as we can in the space of time. And if there is, I think that is all on I just want to make sure that I addressed what Park Ridge is doing for us. And all right, so
We will be getting a link. Is that what you're saying for the?
yes, I'm going to, as soon as we hang up, excuse me, hang on.
Okay, and then
Hang
that,
up, I'm going to be emailing because I can't really,
and
like-
it's a GoFundMe link, like what is actually on our website that we're able to?
the link will also go on our website. It's a link to a GoFundMe page that's established by Park Ridge Cares.
Okay.
Okay.
And that is going to take money. Then they are taking care of finding the shoppers with our list. They have our list to go buy food and bring it to the township. So there's, I don't know how many of you are familiar. There's a website. It takes a village that coordinates shoppers with needs. And also, as I said, Park Ridge Cares, which is being run by Park Ridge government and John and the mayor. So they will take care of that. And they will also be heavily promoting this as a place that we need food, not so much money. We need food. So they're taking care. That GoFundMe is to put. There's a lot of people who can only donate money, right? They can't get out, or they don't want to get out. So they'll convert that into bringing food.
Is there a thought to share this with the city of Des Plaines and the city of?
Yeah, that's what I just said. I'm going to try to talk to the city of Des Plaines and see if I can work something out with the elected officials, with them.
I'd be happy to help you with that as well, Laura. The problem you run into with Des Plaines is they also have the Des Plaines Self-Help
that's right.
Pantry,
Right.
which is what a lot of local businesses and people in Des Plaines donate to.
That's
Yeah.
actually a good point.
And we have Niles too. There's other. I know I'm involved. There's other food pantries too, but there's the city of Niles as well.
Right. I didn't get, because Niles also has a food pantry, and Park Ridge doesn't.
It's the best village ever. That's true.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
right.
Trustee Carabota. But one half of Niles is in Maine Township, so let's
That's
not.
I
right.
understand. It's just I've got the Park Ridge.
Yeah, you do. That was a good move. Good move.
So, thank you. And it worked quite fast and quite well. So I was very, very pleased at the generosity. I've been getting text calls and messengers from 6 a.m. on a Sunday, all night wanting to donate, and they want to donate money. So it's hard to explain. You have to send a check or drop off a check. So I think this actually, works out well. And then in the meantime, we also, Dana can talk about that if you need, but I think we're okay that we've been sending John Bennett to Woodman's, Mariano's, Jewel. As you can imagine, grocery stores are very reluctant to let you take an entire cake, clear out their shelves. All right, Dana, you want to talk?
Can you hear me with my mask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, John went to Jewel, Mariano's, and Woodman's, and he got quite a bit of groceries, but we've also been getting quite a bit of donations, so he's not using taxpayer dollars actually.
Right.
Which is great.
Right.
And then kind of like Laura said, Beth Kinesis dropped off where we got, was on its way, $3,300. And I just also want to make sure that the board knows I'm the liaison between the township and the website info@mainetown.com, which is in our website. So anyone can send really any questions, statements, comments to that website, and it generates through me. But at the moment, because what's going on, most of them that are through are people wanting to know where to send donations or who to make the check out to, et cetera. And I'm probably getting anywhere between maybe 3 and 7 a day, or sometimes more. And people are very generous, whether they want to donate $20 or $150. So I would say most people are, wanting to write a check or drop off food. I'm definitely getting several in my inbox a day. So residents, at this time where people are, maybe not working or who knows what's going on, people are definitely wanting to make donations. So it's just been a great community, and everyone's really pulling together. So,
Yeah, we are thrilled.
Thank you.
All right. So, and Viacia sent out April calendars. So our next meeting is our regular board meeting. Oh, biggest announcement of all, but I think you all know this. Annual town meeting is canceled, or postponed, as they say. With a date to be determined. And that will not be determined by us. That will be determined by the governor or the legislature. Right, Carolyn? Like, we're not determining that date.
Yeah, right. As of now, we don't know. The order just says the meetings are suspended. They're not canceled. I think that's the best thing now.
Right.
And we'll just have to stay tuned for further information. So we believe they will be later during the year. I spoke with Jerry Crabtree at TOI, because some townships, believe it or not, were planning to still go forward with their meeting.
Wow.
And they were
Okay.
saying TOI told them that's fine, but no, it's not fine. So,
No.
yes, so we'll, as soon as we hear more, we'll let you know.
All right.
I just
So,
want to thank, I know we all are, but just thank the skeleton staff that we have, Dana and everybody there that has done, you know, multiple people's jobs. So thank you for kicking in the extra effort. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
you know, Trustee Sweeney, I'm glad you said that because they've been just tremendous. Really tremendous. And, it's all been working, and the remote crew has been tremendous. And, the senior department is coming up with senior yoga and senior Zoom, like there's a lot of things you can do. And one of the things we're going to do, and this is my final word on, and then we'll talk further at the board meeting, but we're going to be publishing a resource guide, a COVID-19 resource guide. So when people want to know, like what are the hours for, where can you go for this, or this? This is a joint effort by seniors, by clerks, and if someone from SES, everybody is participating. And so people don't know if the vet's open or don't know where to go for, government help, frankly. So, that's going to be something, spearheaded by seniors that was Vicky's idea, and it was a great idea. We used to years ago have something like that, like a local guide. And so we're trying to get this out. And then we also will be getting out the Mainly News. Okay. So I am going to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion, second.
All right. Pete, is this an all call?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is anybody opposed? Nobody's opposed. Okay.
All right.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, everybody.
Well,
Bye-bye.
stay home.
Rocket.